Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Ryan Selvy, and this is File New, your best update to creative news, art news, design news, everything in between, a news show for creatives. We've got a lot coming on to you today. We have some Sora updates, we have some Adobe Max updates, we have some rebrands from Gizmodo and Microsoft. We have a cool collection of IKEA catalogs, social media design trends, what to do with career drift, and a lot more. So make sure you guys stick around for the next hour or so. My name is Ryan Selvy. We are live on both YouTube and Behance, and I am checking out both of the chats. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off, we're just going to take a quick look at the Adobe Live schedule. This is part of the Adobe Live ecosystem, as you know. We have a bunch of shows going on throughout the week. If you are new to Adobe Live, welcome. But it's great to have you guys here. Ooh, Patrick's here. Hey, Patrick. We have this is the last show of today on YouTube, but then we're switching over to Twitch right after this to go to Design Sprint with sports design with Stephen Overturf. He's doing some really cool athletics designs. So if you're into maybe something that's a little bit more sportsy, it's a really cool show to check out, and it's live just like this, but it's on Twitch. And then also we have Edit Like a Pro with CA and LA after that, which is video editing. So it's great to have you guys here, hopefully for the rest of the day. Make sure you join the Adobe Live Discord. It has a File New channel for you, so you can talk about the updates all throughout the week. We actually had a few comments and stuff over the last week that I'm going to be incorporating in today's show. So getting you guys in there, getting your opinions, seeing what you're excited about, what you're not excited about, helps form the show, and then we can go from there. Then, of course, you also can interact with other streamers. You can interact with other guests, and we can just kind of continue to hang out when it's not just the live streams. Hello to everyone who is in chat, although I promise if you are watching this as a replay, I will make it worth your time. Also, please let me know if my audio is okay. In the last stream that we just had with Alex, which was really fun, and we were going over gradients and pattern tools all in Illustrator, I know my audio got a little bit crunchy, and I tried to do some fixes on it, but please let me know, and I'm really sorry if it is crunchy. Trying to figure it out. Audio is great, says Rick. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. But I guess we can start off. I'm going to go ahead and I don't think I shared the raindrop link in the description for you guys. So when I go back, I'll make sure that I update that so that you guys have access to the raindrop. The raindrop is always going to be your source for all of the links that we talk about, both in this episode and previous episodes. And it is a great place to just be able to get ahead of the stream, or you could alternatively backtrack and try to figure out something that is there. Now I'm going to go here and put it in both. That way you guys have access to both of it for the raindrop. But if not, you can like Google stuff too, if you're feeling it. But let's go ahead and go into our first news story that we have for today. And this is Sora. So Sora is owned by OpenAI. It is a new approach to generative video. Right now, it is #1 in photo and video on the App Store. You have to have a invitation in order to get into it. A buddy of mine sent me an invite, and I was playing around with it. It is very interesting for a multitude of reasons. But just to give you guys kind of an idea of functionality of how this works. And maybe the best way that I can do this is I can like pull it up on my phone right here, and then literally I'll just hold it up to the camera. It'll take a second to probably focus. So we'll do the influencer focus here. All right. But okay. So here you go. This is what it looks like. It looks just like TikTok or Instagram Reels, but none of the videos are real, which is its own thing. So this man doesn't exist, or he does, and it's a cameo or whatever, but all of this is not from a real thing. You can then continue to kind of swipe through, and just like TikTok or anything else, it's just like videos on videos. But where it gets really weird, and I'll wait till I find something. That was Sam Altman, I guess, is like Willy Wonka. Is where it gets really weird is if you go to a submission that has a multiple like situation. So here we go. We have this. This is something with Sam Altman. There's a lot of Sam Altman, obviously, but you see these dots down here on the bottom. As like I was like swiping through here, you can swipe, and as you do, you can see someone says make him run away in a funny way, and then it regenerates the video with the update of this prompt. And so then you continue, and it says, all right, make it more the gentleness of a woman. So it turns him into a woman. Then it says, make her more conventionally attractive, whatever that means. Get rid of what she says, but the same. So like, and then it's just people are iterating on it. And so it all automatically got a lot of attention. It's got Bob Ross like in front of a gigantic stadium, you know, and like have him like paint different stuff. Obviously, Bob Ross is copyrighted and has a lot of licensing behind it. And I don't believe that they signed off on it. So naturally, once that kind of came out last week and became number one, there quickly was a lot of backtracking from OpenAI about the flood of video game slop, including Sam Altman eating a Pikachu. And it's getting more guardrails and more attention now that people are starting to easily replicate like episodes of SpongeBob or create some sort of crazy things that are very clearly trained off of something else. As a reminder for everybody here, Firefly is entirely trained on consensual non-copyrighted data, so you're not going to run into this situation when you're working with Adobe stuff. But as the landscape is changing, it does have these little Sora watermarks, just like TikTok, that move around as you download and stuff. But they're already, I saw something on Threads of someone being like, I made a thing to automatically get rid of the Sora watermark, which all the comments were like, why would you want that? Like, we need to know that it's AI generated content. But just know, like, we're there now, guys. We have crossed the threshold. You really cannot trust videos anymore. Anything can be generative, which is its own conversation. But that is kind of what is taking the world by storm right now. Scary news just to kind of start to begin with. But then we're going to hop in. But well, actually, let's see what you guys are saying before we hop into the next story. Winter is saying, ugh. Petty's saying, go get him, Bob. We have Oliver saying, or indeed any of the other shady AI peddlers who are scraping everything. They can train their software. Wade is in an agreement. Purposes, I hope Sam has a good therapist because if he sees this, he might need it. Jacob says, OpenAI running into copyright problems? No way. Also, by the way, this is all Ryan commentary, not official Adobe commentary. I know we're on the Adobe channel, but they do not tell me what to say. I get to pick the stuff that I am talking about. And yeah, next up, let's get out of scary news, but go into more scary design, I guess. Instagram Rings. They announced this new award for creativity, and it is based off of like a ring that goes around your profile. And so they are having a set of judges come and determine who is creating ambitious design through their service, through like Instagram. And they actually even created a actual like physical ring. But I think what the real thing here is that it is like a ring that can go around your profile. The thing about it though is I know they launched it in like October, but why does it look so scary? Like it looks like the ring, like it looks like Samara. But I have a selection of different judges that will then be able to determine who gets this new award that then goes on their profile. They're also able to like change the background of their profile. They're be able to do like certain things that only a collection of people do. It has people like Spike Lee and Adam Mosseri, who is the head of Instagram, as the judges for it. I don't know when they necessarily get announced, but this is something, I guess on the 16th. So there's your answer right there. So you have 8 days to become an Instagram star and get it to be reviewed by Instagram Rings. There is Clever says that it looks kind of like a portal. Yeah, and so just get ready to see some of these little gold things. I know MK HD, which is Marcus. It's one of my favorite influencers. Is one of the judges, so I am excited to see that. But we'll see if this turns into something that is routinely popular and something that you see more of, or if it's like a one sort of thing. Wade says LOL to an IG star. Goose is also saying indeed. So yeah, let me know if any of your favorite creators end up getting this golden award. Would love to see it. Then for some like tech news, I love to have my technology stuff. The new solid state drive that sticks to your iPhone and can support a 10-foot drop is enabling you to be able to film 4K in 60 frames per second, Apple ProRes, and you can write up to speeds of 2,000 megabytes per second, which is totally fine for being able to have consistent filming. This was coming to us from The Verge. Andrew Liszewski, so Lizowski. I hope he never sees this video. But this is really interesting, of this new form of accessories that help increase your storage capabilities for your phone, so you don't have to worry about completely obliterating your on-system storage. And it uses MagSafe, so in the same way that I have this stand for my iPhone where I can just put it on there and it sticks, this is the same sort of thing with the capabilities. I know they have batteries that also do this. Rick says, won't the magnet erase the hard drive in your phone? No, that is the 90s in you speaking. MagSafe is very, very cool. If you have an iPhone, you should definitely know about MagSafe. MagSafe is amazing. I use MagSafe all the time. It's very, very strong. It works well, especially with iPhone stuff. If you put it on the side and it's charging, it'll turn it into like a dock and turns into a clock. But this is a magnetic solid state drive that will get you really, really good storage capabilities so that you can then record stuff. Vandal wants to eat the grilled Pikachu. Let me know how that works out for you. And then our last piece of news for today is we are getting rapidly close to Max. I also recently figured out or learned that I think I am going to Max suddenly. So originally I was not going to Max. Now I think I will be at Max. So if you're going to be at Max, let me know. But this is coming from the Adobe blog. You can see the link here. It says, building a side hustle or creative passion. Check out the new Adobe Max Creator Track. It says Adobe Max is the world premiere creative conference and brings together creative people from around the globe, apparently also me. In Max Creator Track sessions, you'll learn how to create mobile-first content designed for success across platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Hopefully you can get, your little golden ring. And you can use AI to take your ideas even further. You'll discover how to stand out with strong visual identity, turn viral moments into steady income with smart monetization, and make the leap from side hustle to full-time gig. There are links out to some of the top sessions for the creator track, like Scrappy, Smart, and Human, the future of storytelling, or the Empowering Creatives, Education and Industry in the Age of AI. It talks all about how there you'll have a community of creators, and Adobe Max returns to Los Angeles October 28th through 30th of 2025, which today, at the time of broadcast, is October 8th, so we are just a few weeks away. Rick is saying, ooh, see you there. So yes, see you there. Can't wait. Wade says, can we get a daily file new vlog at Max? Yeah, I'd be down to do that. I could do some Max vlogging. I guess I could put it on my own channel. But who knows? Jacob Paris says, let's go, Ryan. We hang out at Max. Yes, of course, man. Always love to hang out with you, Jacob. It's always good to see you. Although we do live very close to each other. Oh no, we don't, not anymore. Well, actually, no, that's a secret. Who knows? I'm derailing. Let's hop into Font of the Week. All right, you guys. Font of the Week. If you're new here, we do this every single week, as the name suggests, and it is a time where we pull up 3 different typefaces from the Adobe Fonts catalog, and we create a little standoff between the 3 of them to see which one is the Font of the Week. This week, we have 3 options. That's kind of like a groovy font, more of a condensed, grotesque font, and then this like flowy, airy, wavy kind of, I guess it's a sans serif, right? So the first one that we have, and I'm putting up the poll onto YouTube. So if you're watching over on Behance, get out of there, hop on over to YouTube, give me some of those YouTube comments so it helps out the algorithm anyway. I want to see y'all on that sweet YouTube. And there is a voting situation. You can vote as early as you want. I always suggest not to, because we normally hop into stuff and people change their mind, and guess what, when you vote on YouTube, it says that's your vote now. And then you're like, oh, I wish I would have switched it up. And guess what, guys, I can't help you. I can only do so much for you. So this Zeppelin variable, it comes to us from Jamie Chang. It's from Manic Type, and it is a variable typeface in the way that it has both a variable Y and X axis. So you'll see here with the Y, it's moving all of like the holes and the adjustments of the middle of the typeface. So like the H can be really low, it can be really high. It also has a variable X-axis, which is a little bit more like, I don't know, trippy in the way that it kind of can make it move left and right. What I really like about it is, I know a few years ago, I feel like these typefaces were really, really big with the really fat bottom and kind of like groovy top. But I do tend to now like quite the opposite, just because everything's cyclical, and you're able to bring it down. As with anything else, we always like to write file new just to see what file new looks like. We can look at it in all caps and all lower cases. It is nice because it does give a breadth of variety no matter what you're doing, for how much you want to kind of adjust it. You can have it in the middle or the sides. You're going to get these sliders and stuff mostly in Illustrator, but you also can get some preset ones that do kind of, I believe they do it by directional, right in Photoshop. It says that the axis represents a continuous range of style variations. One variable font can contain multiple axes, and you can customize an axis to any number of within its minimum or maximum range. It has 2 axes, has 9 instances, and you can always use your custom settings. They say that it is a reverse contrast typeface that is all about expression and chill vibes. Let's hop back over to our handy dandy Photoshop. We can go and look at the glyphs because we love to look at the glyphs. I'm going to change this to file new. I'll also show you how in Photoshop, how it shows you. It has southwest, south, southeast, west, regular, east, northwest, north, northeast. And so that's just going to kind of switch between the main ones that you have, like north and northeast. Obviously, north is just when it goes up. Northeast is when it goes up and to the right. Same thing with going south and southeast. It can bring it down. Of course, when we go to our window and our glyphs, we can see that there is a nice variance of a bunch of different things. Can we do our math homework? I need to make like a little like thing for it. Yes, we can do our math homework. They don't look as cohesive with everything else, though. They kind of hop out of the focus when it comes to that. They have arrows, which we love to see arrows. Plenty of punctuation, but no extra fancy glyphs. I mean, whatever this is. I don't think that's a currency. Looks like an eyeball. I guess that's kind of fun, right? But we see that Umakoran loves the difference in X height. Alessandra is joining us over on Behance. Alessandra, make sure you hop over to YouTube to make sure that you get to vote on which is best. Penny Jules says, what about the glyphs? Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Kendall's saying she's glad she hasn't missed any fonts, just a little late to the party. Glad to have you here, regardless. Also, if you guys are watching the replay and you want to make your voice heard, make sure you hop over to the Discord and you show what one you would have voted for had you been here during the live stream. It is a tight race, as always. Right now, it looks like people have voted for 50% Zeppelin, 38% Mazurka, however you say it, and 12% retros. Vandal's talking about Nano Banana and Photoshop. It says it's really cool, but more murky versus commercial viability. Oh, so we're going back to the AI discussion. And yes, so just always make sure that like you know that with Firefly, that is the Adobe provided one. Anything else that is the other platforms and the other services are their own thing. So there's no guarantee with anything else besides Firefly. Let's move on to our second typeface that we might be working with today. This is from Quintana Font. It is designed by Javier Quintana Godoy. It is a condensed typeface. It has, once again, a variable approach to it. I tend to really kind of like it around the 600 range, between the 100 and 900. I just like the thickness of it. I think that it could be helpful when you go all the way up to 900 or down to 100. But this would be really good for headlines, poster design. I could even see this maybe on some product design if you wanted to like have a logo that had a big call out here. It is a condensed, grotesque typeface that combines some aspects of the 19th century wood type with a subtle reverse contrast in shapes that remind some formal aspects of the street lettering seen in Santiago and Valparaiso. And it is quite flexible. They tend to have the string, not string, but like the adjustment of having it kind of go over top of each other with different variants of having the letters interact with one another. Let's go ahead and make it say file new. You have both uppercase and lowercase. I really like the N here. They're doing a really weird thing with the crossover. You see the X height is pretty low. It has a lot of higher spaces for kind of have that contrast. That said, when there is such a weird X height, it is important to know that like with scalability, you might not want to use this for body copy. In our glyphs panel, we have lots of cool glyphs. Yes, we've got the moon. We've got music notes. We have like a whole band. We have little people dancing. We have underlined stuff. So this is where you can really kind of play around with the idea of connecting it to other letters. You also can do the arrows, which we love. You have fractions. Yes, these are a bunch of ligatures that you can put to connect, like, FF or FI, AE, and you can really play around, which is cool. Copyright symbols, you name it. Oliver says that these glyphs are the best of the three. Kendall's excited that there are lots of glyphs, and it says that Umacorn is working on her alphabet this afternoon. Ooh, would love to see that. That'd be great. Are you doing the October 50 days of type? Or not 50. Stop, Ryan. 31 days of type. Would love to see anything you're going to do. Clever asks which one is supposed to win. Vote for sale. Yes. If you guys want to sell your vote to Clever, she is going to be using whatever you tell her to. Oliver is saying that he wished that the other two had as good as glyphs as this one. We're going to put an arrow in between. Well, no, I'm going to put the dancers in it because I like the dancers. File new. Coming to a ballroom near you real soon. And then finally, the last option of today's font of the week is Retros. This is coming to us from Rustam Gabasov from the Shrift Foundry. It is flowy and fun, very thin. It feels more like a luxury brand for me. It is designed to unite two distinct lettering styles, fluid contrasting strokes, and the broad nib brush calligraphy and the sharp, precise lines of chiseled stone carvings. You can see that it is very thin. So you're going to want this in big type letters because if you were to make it really tiny, it's going to really disappear on the page. It has both uppercase and lowercase. I think that they work both in title case and in all caps. If you check out the glyphs, they do have math homework, but they don't really have dancers. Where are my dancing glyphs? It has our arrows. It has nice little like collections of asterisks for whatever reason, and some cool numbers, which is nice, with some circled numbers, which is always good to see. And yeah, so you would want to use this for but this is nice. So you can be like cherry, Ooh, it also has different automatic glyphs or ligatures, which is good to see. I could definitely see this as, oh yeah, see, this is cool stuff here. Like this file new should be like a E and E. Where did that go? Here it is. NE. File new like that. Do they have an FI? A lot of times they have FIs. No. Do they have an LE? No? No? LL. But you can get really lost in this and have the letter forms kind of mess together, which is cool. It looks a little bit italicized, even when it's not italicized, which is interesting. And as far as on Adobe fonts, I believe it's only one weight. I don't know if there are more if you're not on Adobe fonts, but as far as the ones that are included in your membership, it is all just that. Umacorn really likes the numbers. Kendall is also saying, ooh. Kendall's saying, I want to wait, but I don't want to wait, but I want to give all the fonts a fair chance. Which is, yes, that is all about self-discipline and being able to get it. But now you've seen all three, and you guys have some opportunity to vote and make your voice heard. Once again, that's over on the YouTube, which is youtube.com/@Adobe Live Community, which I would love to see your chats in because it's better for the algorithm. So hop on over there. Make sure you say hello while you're voting. And as a tip from Vandal, he's saying if you want to use Adobe Fonts in another non-Adobe app, you have to activate it specifically in the Creative Cloud app, which is a tab there. And that's a very good tip because they are usable in other fonts, but I mean, in other programs. You just have to make sure that your system fully downloads it rather than just downloads it just for Photoshop or Illustrator. And important to know. It's a good call out. That is only one of our segments. Let's go into a segment where we actually got a submission from Kendall herself. So next up is Rebrand, where we're going to explore the aspects of using or looking at popular rebrands and updates to design. Hello to Alessandro. Welcome back. So Microsoft, this is coming to us from our friend Kendall over on the Adobe Live Discord. I had mentioned something about the Microsoft logos being updated, and she pointed me towards Microsoft Design Week. There is both dedicated web page to it, but there is also a really great Behance page where it goes through a bunch of these really cool design explorations. You can see it has multiple owners, and it's all about breaking boundaries. I really like how they incorporated using a lot of their old iconography with updated kind of approaches, because obviously they have 50 in there. But you can also see like the old like MSN Messenger logo in there. We have some like old emotes and Internet Explorer. It's a really cool exploration and love letter to Microsoft over the years. I really like the use of this 3D vibe, but using old traditional icons like a pixelated heart or this folder. It does a really good job at merging both the past and the future. It took place apparently September 10th through 11th, and just helps a lot of different development and design. And I thought this spinning lanyard was really pretty. A cool animation that I could just kind of watch go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Really relying on color blocks that are going from left to right and really filling up the space, but also starting to lean into this glass look and this idea that there is a physicality and a depth to the things that we interact with in a 2D plane, because it is starting to kind of merge with that idea. And you can see here that there is this Microsoft Word icon. So if you missed it, this is also in the Adobe Live Discord under the file new. Right after we went offline last week, we were kind of brought the attention to these changing icons here. These are the new icons for Microsoft Office. There is a whole suite of updates for you, and they also had this really cool progression from way back in what is this, the early 2000s all the way up till now. And you can see that it kind of went through a little bit of a glassy phase here in the Vista era around 2007, and now they have now returned to this glassy vibe again. I forget who it was who called out the PowerPoint icon itself. because like, what does the PowerPoint even mean? But it is curvy. They are vibrant. This is off the original official Microsoft design page. They really are playing into this glass vibe that's become very popular. Updating between kind of having these just static, rigid forms to more things that are like looping around. And it says maintains familiarity while streamlining the visual experience to be delightfully simple. Check out this weird PowerPoint one. Bunch of new shapes, new brand language, and something that kind of feels like you can reach out and touch it. So I feel like we're getting real close to reaching out and touching things, especially with our digital spaces. But if you want to do a quick read of that, it's really cool. Kendall says gradients are so in right now. Oliver is saying the PowerPoint icon is a pie chart. Is it though? That's not a pie chart. Why would it curve around, right? I think it's like a post-it note, like a slide. Like it's supposed to be like next slide. Also, thank you, Clever, for saying hello while you're voting with little popcorn. Appreciate you. Kendall also likes how they animated the previous slides, nostalgic vibes. And Umacorn says she doesn't know if the curves are simple. Do you think they add too much complexity? I think that as far as cohesiveness, like, you know, you do a little spin around, you squint at this, it all feels the same family. It is relying a lot on color for distinction, just because, you know, you shake your head and it's like you can't necessarily call out exactly which one is which, just because there are a lot that feel very similar. But I don't know. I think it's cool. I like the Excel exploration. It's really cool. Like that X is really neat. I wish they went with that more. But I understand the modularity and the ability to have it. But yeah, I like this feel. Hello to Shilpa. They say, so I don't know if they're crazy about it. Umacorn feels like it is soft and friendlier, which I agree. Alessandro agrees that PowerPoint looks like a pie chart, no doubt. Leah says, hi. Hello to Leah's daughter. Good to see you. Hello. Thank you for being here. Goose says, I know about a pie chart, but what about a cake chart? Shilpa's giving me this face. Pie note and a sticky note. Who knows? All right. Well, then we have some more rebrands to get into. Like I said, all of these are linked in the raindrop if you'd like. But next up is a very interesting video from our friend James Barnard, where he had some drama with the HBO logo. And he started doubting himself. And actually, he walks through the whole process in his video that he has on a YouTube short that I am going to link. But we're also just going to watch it in real time and thank him for letting us to include this on the show. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and then we'll give it a nice watch.
So I posted a video a couple of weeks ago about how there's a mistake in the HBO logo, and if you look closely, the H and B characters don't...
Hey guys,
So I posted a video a couple of weeks ago about how there's a mistake in the HBO logo, and if you look closely, the H and B characters don't line up in the official vector version from the HBO website. Now, I took a lot of flack in the comments. Most people were like, nobody cares. Other people were saying, it's not actually a mistake, it's due to optical alignment, and the H is overshot with the O to look more cohesive. And then people started calling me out saying I'm full of myself. So now I'm second guessing myself and thinking, shit, was this H and B misalignment thing intentional? And is this a typography trick that I've never heard about? And then I got a message on my Instagram page from a guy called Gerard. Someone sent me your HBO post. I designed that version in the 1970s. Email me. So, oh shit, I'm about to get a telling off here. I've basically just called the HBO logo a sloppy mess, and now the frigging guy who designed the original, Gerard Huerta, wants to speak to me. So very nervously, I emailed him back saying I'd love to chat, and hopefully you weren't offended by my video. And then I waited sheepishly for a reply, and a few hours later, I got an email back with an attachment. And when I opened it up, I could not believe what I was looking at. He sent me the original trace of the HBO logo designed on tissue paper. So back in the 70s, to make a logo, you would start with a really accurate pencil drawing on tissue paper, put a piece of vellum or transparent plastic over the top, tape it down, and then very carefully trace over this with a rapidograph ink pen. And this was then photographed to create a printing plate or a film negative, and that way the logo could be reproduced. Now, if you look very carefully at this tissue, you'll notice not an error in sight. The H perfectly lines up with the B. There are also some major differences, and when I tried to overlay the SVG from the website, and I really tried, it just doesn't go. And look, I'll just let Gerard tell you.
My name's Gerard Huerta. The transition from the straight line of the B to the curve is a bad drawing of that.
He's talking about the bone effect, where when a straight line goes into a curve, you have to smooth off that transition, otherwise it can look like a bit of a kink. Also on the original, the overshoot is perfectly equal on the top and the bottom of the O. Not so on the new one. And the bottom bowl on the original B sticks out just a little further, as it should, and on the new one, nope. And so Gerard very kindly agreed to give up his time for an interview over on my community. And he's a lovely human being with an illustrious career. I mean, go and check out his work. He did the friggin' AC/DC logo, for God's sake. But yes, somewhere along the way, they vectorized the original HBO logo for the digital world, and they made some mistakes. Now look, in our industry, graphic designers are sometimes labeled as a little bit pretentious. Designers are very protective of their craft, especially type designers, and we care about mistakes like this. And look, on an old TV, when this came up on the screen at the start of a show with the shh, oh, you probably wouldn't have noticed, but
In print, it matters because it's very high resolution in print. We see those mistakes.
so yeah, maybe I care about things like this, and maybe I am full of myself for calling out a mistake in the logo, or maybe calling a mistake optical alignment makes you the pretentious one, and maybe those haters owe me an apology. I don't know. So
Also, yes, I saw that I accidentally almost went doom scrolling there for a second there, Oliver. No, I would never wish that on anyone, that we're not going to doom scroll while we're on stream. We also have a celebrity appearance in the chat from Stephen Overturf, which, like I said, he is coming up right after this on to Twitch in just about 20 minutes or so. So get yourself ready to hop over to Twitch right after the stream. But thank you for joining, Stephen. Good to have you here. We were just talking about Microsoft redesign right before you got here, which I know you're wondering what's happening out with that chat. And Winter was saying that she uses a lot of Excel and spelling is her Achilles heel. Winter's also saying a computer is not better than humans? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I mean, that's just the importance of being able to check out, when things are being transitioned, especially into a digital landscape, that, you really are checking the details and you're checking to see what are updated. Just in general, James Barnard, very, very smart, helpful designer, has really good socials, has really good design, has really good community. So make sure you check him out. He's kind and generous enough to let us feature his work on the show all the time. So if you want to learn, it's really, really good. And Clever was saying, I was looking at those videos, some good stuff. And also Vandal was really excited to see that he was able to get the designer's original sketch, which, yeah, like that's really cool that he is able to just whip that out of his pocket real quick. Clever's mentioning that if it was optical alignment, the O should have been taller. And Umercorn was enjoying my facial expressions. Because I always think it's funny whenever you're watching like a Instagram or a TikTok and you just have obviously the real piece of content, and then you have some random influencer being like, I'm like, why? This is where we're at. This is how we got there. And I guess I more or less do it on the show to a point. But 2025, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't need. Oh, that's my Beetlejuice. I said I'm gonna do it one time. I'm gonna do it one time only. All right, and then I said I was gonna get married and it was gonna be good. Anyway, maybe that's what I should be for Halloween. I should be Beetlejuice, one of my favorites. Then we have just a second thing of Rebrand, which Gizmodo. This was reported on by Armin at Brand New, which is a great website for design updates. Gizmodo did this really, once again, we're going to go into this. We're going to say this is Ryan Selvy's views, not Adobe's views. Did a really weird rebrand. Gizmodo, I used to check them all the time. I haven't watched them as much lately, but they're a tech blog, and they updated their logo with this really weird G. And I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't hate like the lower cases over here, but why did they do this with the G, but they didn't do anything with the D here or these O's? Also, like this O just feels, because of the height of this D, this O feels like it's just going to like run away. Like it doesn't. It feels like it got bookends, and then there's like an O over here. It's just it's interesting. Not wild about it. I also don't understand kind of this curvature of this G here. It's not maybe visible on the Z. They didn't have any like kind of write up about it, which like if you pay for brand new, which I do, you normally do get a write up for it. I'm interested to see if they come out with some sort of explanation for it and what everything represents, but I don't fully understand it. Wade says, "Oof, try again." Goose feels like the G looks a little bit like Google. And he says, "Is it hiding a shape in there?" It says Kendall. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Vandal says it's like extra futura. Umacorn over on Behance is saying it's an underbite. Which Gizmodo has your underbite, right? I don't fully understand. So, Ryan opinion, not Adobe opinion, but weird. It's a weird redesign choice. I would love to hear. And just because we are using brand news content, I always like to call out that you should check out their website, but also they have this brand new conference, which the in-person registration ends in 2 days, which is on October 10th, and remote access registration closes on October 24th. So if you're really interested to this portion of the show, where we always go over updates and rebrands, a lot of the content comes from brand new because we love them, and you should go support them and their business. And if you're interested in an event, it is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is too far away for me, but if you are in that part of the country, you should go check it out. But that is all we have for Rebrand. We have about 10 minutes left, right? We're going to go take a quick look again at the font of the week. So if you are joining late, these are the 3 options that we have currently running in the YouTube poll. We have Zeppelin VF. We have Mazuriquika. We just need to do a supercut of me butchering all names of all kinds. And then we also have Retros. So we'll be determining that winner in just about like 8 minutes or so. So if you want to hop in and switch it up, please go for it. Trevin is saying that the G looks like Pac-Man with a busted lip for the Gizmodo logo, which is really funny. It's like after Pac-Man got into a fight. And it says Virgil is over on YouTube saying that the O transformed to G after the segment fell over. Yeah, kind of just like fell in. Yeah, I guess because those kind of the angles also line up. It's such a weird thing. Wade is laughing because we're getting into like personal attacks on this Gizmodo logo. But I don't want to take up too much time with it. So let's check out resources, which is your best source of things that help you get into the creative flow and help your workflow. Tom May over on Creative Broom recently did a collection of tips from fellow designers on coping with career drift. The subtitle says, "Feel like you've strayed too far from your creative roots? Members of the Creative Boom community share their hard-won advice on reclaiming your passion and rebuilding your confidence." I remember specifically my senior year of college, we had to take this class called like career development for all illustrators, and it helped you work with like taxes. It also helped you work with just being a creative outside of just like knowing the programs and knowing things that are specifically about art. And one of the things that really stuck with me is that the teacher was like, "You're all sitting here now. You're all very excited about going into the workforce. Something that's going to happen is you're going to run into a scenario where you have a reunion in 5-10 years, and a big majority of you are not going to be doing creative stuff anymore. And like, is that okay? Is that not okay? The important thing to know is just like what's important to you." And I thought that this was a really good way to speak to anyone who maybe like isn't in a creative field anymore, or they're in a creative field that doesn't necessarily scratch the itch of what they originally thought they were going to be doing, because life brings you in really strange ways. I say go read the whole thing, but the big top line things are you're more valuable than you think. Becoming a generalist actually damaged your career? You know, I don't think so. It says, Grace Abel says, the hiring market these days prefers a designer who can actually do video editing, animation, photography, and all the other professions for a single salary. So don't sweat it. If you're more hireable than people who can only design, regardless of their skill level. It also says just start creating. Like, you have the space and liberty to be able to create. It doesn't have to be for anything else. Like, you can just do it for you, and that's what's going to be most rewarding. Protect your energy. And it just says that, what strikes the author here, which was, who was it again? This was Tom May. He says that what strikes me most about all this advice is how it reframes career drift not as failure, but as evolution. Yes, you may have moved away from the pure design work, but you've gained valuable skills and perspectives along the way. The question isn't whether you can return to design, it's what kind of designer you want to become now with everything you've learned. So be kind to yourself, and also remember that, like, we're humans and we're constantly evolving and changing, and it's okay to be in a place different than you thought you were going to be, or it doesn't mean that you can't go back to what you want, or it doesn't mean that it's going to be something new and exciting. I say check it out. Over on the Adobe Express page, for all y'all that are using Adobe Express, there are 5 social media trends to try in time for Halloween. I know I was doing my Beetlejuice impression there. I love Halloween. This is a really nice article that was written up by the Express team with Rachel Carton over on the Express blog on Adobe. There is the Halloween bucket meme, which says, set up a Halloween bucket outside of a door, put your product in it, let people know, only take one and take a photo. Kind of just like trick-or-treating, which is fun. The more ridiculous, the better. There's also the floating broom tour, which it says is a stop motion video of someone jumping with a broom, a lot of times to stitch together and make it look like they're flying. It's time consuming, but it's worth the effort. You can tour your office or show your followers around a store. It says content for your inner child, something about Halloween that brings about your inner child, costumes, pranks, and scary stories. Create a post that feels whimsical and playful. Maybe it's a mini campaign with a new character you make for the holiday. Or a picture book story that's told in carousel format. And then we have the costume bag meme, which everyone has seen, which is making a costume out of something and being able to then say, like, oh, this is what you can be for Halloween. Finally, carve a pumpkin. That is probably the most classic and traditional. Easy, fun, and impressive. You can even partner with an artist who can do pumpkins way better than you will ever do, because I can never do, and I always get very tired. But 2 tips for you pumpkin carvers. 1, cut the hole in the bottom, not the top, so that way you can just put it over top of the candle. And 2, if you have a food mixer, use the food mixer to grind up everything so that you can just easily pop it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So also Wade, back to the previous article, says that he's been drifting for years. And he says, wait, that doesn't sound like it. And Reverb Mike is saying, everybody who went to school with me realized they hated creating videos after a couple of years. There's also that. There's also things where you can go in and then you can realize that you don't like something, and that's totally okay. There's plenty of things that you learn for one thing that you can apply to other careers. Vandal says, embrace change in technology and tried weird things. And Winter Powell is with me to say that Halloween is the best, which I agree. This is between resource and hyperlinks. This is the IKEA catalog, and this is a collection of 70 years of IKEA catalog that they have scanned and brought in from the 1950s moving forward. This is not available for like public domain. I'm not saying going here and then like take this stuff and put it into your design, but I do think that it's really useful for design inspiration, seeing how they lay out. So, because a lot of times I run into issues with like getting editorial design. You can see that obviously this is very catalog heavy, and this is from 1971, so there were definitely different approaches here, but kind of like having like a headshot next to the headline, next to the byline, next to the copy, next to what have you. It's interesting. It's also just fun to see how design aesthetics have changed. Like, I would still buy this weird lamp. Like, that's a really weird, funky lamp that I would totally buy. Most of them are not in English, so it really is just kind of like texture for the eyes for me. I mean, you can go all the way up to the year I was born. Here you go, guys, 1993. I love him. Who are you? Burger Lund. Hello, Burger Lund. He's our new mascot. He's our new spokesperson. Just fun. Like that's such a weird, like, look at this, how the copy goes around this image of this chair that my mom definitely had, and it's still probably in my basement. That's so weird. And that thing flaps as you kind of move back and forth. But cool website, IKEAmuseum.com. Like I said, it's not free use, so it's not like you can put it in your designs, but something that you can definitely reference and learn from. We are getting tight on time. I always am worried that I'm never going to have enough, and then I have too much. Creative Block has the 10 essential sketchbook warm-up exercises to get into the creative flow. We might do this on a hangout at some point over on the Adobe Live Discord. I will give you guys an update. Let me know what day would be best for you guys to do like an Adobe Live hangout. We could play games, or we could just like draw or work or design stuff. But this is from Joe Foley, and it has things like parallel lines and just getting your hand warmed up and ready to go so that you can then hop into stuff. And then we have clipboard drop, which is a functionality that comes from Fbarria, which is a free plugin that lets you copy and paste directly into After Effects. When you copy from like Photoshop or something and you put it in, it will automatically create a folder for you within your project file that then will then place the folder, so that way you don't have to save it and put it and organize it and bring it back. You can always go through and you're able to then export either as dependencies and be able to like collect files for output, or you could just keep it in the one that it is, because it's called Clipboard Drop. But it's free. It's on there. It's on the After Effects. It's on the subreddit of our After Effects, which is really cool. And then the last resource I'll have before we go back to Font of the Week is a new Mobar update from Motion Ape. And this is a really exciting set of free tools that are all packed into one. It is the first wave of new tools now available in Mobar. There is like plenty of things that you can do that I use all the time, from ease control to keyframe control to switching out text for words and letters, and just a whole bunch of controls that are then entirely free and on Motion Ape, so you can go and check it out at motionape.com. And it says you can even prepare for more updates that are coming down the line. Finally, there's a meme that just says, pro tip for young aspiring designers: name your artboards, especially when you're doing handoffs. Make sure you name your layers, name your artboards, get it into a good place that there is clear communication. It looks like novice and amateur if you're signing things off and it doesn't have everything labeled and organized and collected like that. Is so telling between someone who is an industry professional and somebody who is, maybe not worth as an expensive of an hourly rate or a project rate, And Kendall says, I need Mobar and Clipboard Drop yesterday. Yes, I definitely feel that. All right. Clever saying, anyone left, go vote for the middle one quickly, because Clever is advocating for the middle font. Vandal's also suggesting Overlord, but that's not free, which I agree. I love Overlord. Check that out. And right now, it looks like we'll quickly do the Font of the Week. So for Font of the Week, with 41% of the vote, if it stays that way before I hit end, with 32 votes total, we have Marzaquika. So shout out to Marzaquika. I found out how to say it in the 1 hour that we were on together. This will then also be on the Raindrop. I will now be moving Marzaquika over to the Font of the Week section here. So all we do here, the Font of the Week winners are all collected for you here. These are the ones that we've had at least in like the last 10 episodes or so, or 14 episodes of the winners. So if you want a quick access to be able to access all of the Font of the Week winners, that's there. Next up, we have Stephen Overturf over on Twitch. So you'll be going to twitch.tv/Adobe. But we will be back here next week with File New. Same time, same place. Make sure you join that Adobe Live Discord. Like I said, there is a whole section where not only I post when we go live, but also we have different mentions. Kendall posted a really funny Merriam-Webster thing. We're talking about like Taylor Swift using AI and stuff. Like, we've got lots of different conversations going. So we'd love to see you guys over there. But also there are spots for all of the different shows. So for example, since we're about to hop into Design Sprint, you can see that Steven's up over here saying that a preview is going down on stream today. He says every team needs a mascot, right? Hopefully I see some of you in chat. I will be vectoring out a cool mascot illustration over on Twitch. So thank you guys for all being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to Jacob for being a wonderful moderator. Thank you to Penny and Winter and Clever and Vandal and Kendall and Mike and Penny and Jacob and Oliver and I'm just scrolling up the chat and seeing who I can see, and Penny and Apurva and Alessandra and everybody and all of the above, and maybe see you guys all at Max. Anyway, go check out the Twitch. Goodbye.